understand this. But then I'm out here, dancing, and I still don't understand it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm dancing. It is what it is. You know what I'm
There,
saying?
yeah. There's an artist that's out in Atlanta. His name is Juju Andon,
Okay.
and he takes a very different approach to gangster rap, where it's almost like as if it's like heavy but also fun and cynical at the same time. So like you get like a really like great raw story, but at the same time like it's not 100% serious, so you kind of play
Yeah.
along with
Yep.
it.
Okay.
But it's got like that true root, like it's coming from a true place, like he's telling you his truth. I don't know any other way of explaining it, but you feel me though.
I think I feel you on. Hey man, how you gonna just start smoking? You gotta introduce what you smoking on, bro. How you come on now? Talk about it.
Oh, you mean this?
Oh, of course. Come on, dude.
Well, I use there's a dispensary out here in South Florida which is called Sunburn, and they've been keeping me high as the sun every fucking podcast episode.
No way. Last time I was in Florida, I was in Orlando, so I'm assuming. Do you know if they got one out there?
Yeah, they're
Okay,
all
dope. I'm about to
dude,
check it out.
you can get like a fucking pack of like almost like 14 ounces
Jeez
for
Louise,
like
for like ounces?
not 14 ounces, sorry, 14 grams, I'm sorry, 1 ounce.
I was about to
So
say, come on, family. I was like, ounces? Ain't no
uh,
way.
hey, no, so it's like $50, like 50, $60. They have like you can get a pack of joints that are all like a gram that are like, so a pack of like 6 is like $35.
Okay.
And it's good weed. It's not bad shit. Like they grow it out here. They got like a really good company. Like
I
goes to
think
show you.
that's the next venture I can't wait to get into. I really want to get my own strain. I think that'll be important. I'm sure everybody's gonna have their own strain too, but I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna use it all the time, I might as well get paid for it at least a little bit.
Well, the thing about it is there's this like culture right around weed where like people like that are stoners, that we're just like high all the time, craving fucking munchies, like lazing out and chill. But the really cool thing about weed is once you get the hang of it and you start to like get used to the feelings and the stuff that kind of comes to you, you get to play around with like the different flavors, the different strains to kind of figure out like what can I try next, like to maybe like get me more in a creative setting or like get me more focused, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yep.
Strain. It's a good thing. It's a good
And
goal to
even
be
just
going after.
even when you're looking at them too, right? And looking at the trichomes and a different color. So, what's your favorite color of your weed?
For
Because I personally love when it gets that little orangey in it. Ooh, it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, well usually when it gets orangey, you usually have, that it's going to be more sativa dominant. There's no such thing as sativa or indica straight. There's always going to be a mixture of the two. There's always going to be an indica inside of a sativa. So when you see that, you can kind of like you can see the purity of that high. Like that's good quality weed because dude, like some of those buds, they're very hard to grow.
I
Like
believe
purple,
it.
like when you get a little purple, that fucking shit is easy. Like you can do that in your fucking garage right now and make purple haze. Like that's dog
You
weed.
think so? You think it's that
Yeah.
easy?
Yeah.
You think so? Hey, have you ever done it, man? Because you out here talking real gangster right now.
No, I know people that have grown weed. Like the thing about weed is it's very hard to grow, but there are
That's
strains
what
that
I'm
are
saying, though.
much easier to grow. Like for example, there are strains that you can only grow them in greenhouses environments. Only.
Oh no, for sure, 100%. Yeah, yep.
There needs to be like temperature control. There got to be all those aspects too. But then when you deal with like for example certain strains, you can do them in like a hot box, or you can take out a section of your garage and insulate it and create a greenhouse in there. But as far as what I've been told by people that are growers and people that I've dealt with in the industry, they're not universal. You can't do those things back and forth.
Wow.
I mean, like, It really comes down to like you're dealing with like plants, right? So the more like I guess control you have, the better
For sure. Yep.
consistency.
It also depends on your environment a lot too.
In what way?
Wouldn't you say like whether you're doing it if you're outdoors, you want to use a warmer climate? Like you probably can't grow out here because I'm saying I tried to grow out here, did not work. It got cold way too quick, and I'm assuming it's going to be a lot warmer, a lot longer if I was in the south, or if I was trying to do it at home indoors, still even during the wintertime, might be a little conflicting versus if I was somewhere else that was still going to be warmer, maybe longer throughout the year, might be more beneficial for the plant.
100%. I mean, it's one of those plants that definitely needs a lot of warmth consistently. But the interesting thing is the hotter you get, the funkier it gets. Like, for example, I'm Moroccan. So, one thing Moroccans are known for is hashish. And Morocco is an extremely dry country and can get very hot depending on the type of year. So, they basically create this type of weed that is very resilient to the environment. I mean, it's very dry. There's a lot of sand. There's a lot of desert. So you get this whole different, like almost like family lineage of the plant, just based on all of those conditions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you kind of get to see it go through all the stages in a way.
Hmm.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and you're able to create a very unique, like Moroccan hashish is Moroccan hashish. That you can't you know what your product is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. I feel like that's the only thing you can get in Europe though,
Well, I
because they
mean,
offer that all the time if you're
oh
in
my god,
Europe.
it's
Everywhere
really,
you go,
it's
you
really.
some African dude
Have you tried hashish?
or Arabic dude. I mean, once in Germany.
You want to talk
It
about
was an
it?
Arab dude. What? Boy, it was an Arab dude, man. So me and the homie, we were just walking down the street because we had seen there was this lady. She was smoking a joint because we smelled it on her. So we was low key not trying to be weird. We were trying to get her attention. You know what I'm saying? To ask her where she got it. Anyway, she disappeared into an alley, and that's when I was like, "Oh nah, bro. Like I seen the movies. Like we overseas right now. They don't even my location's off. Like this is a no go. Like we going home. So we turn around and go home
Right.
and some Arab dudes just walk right. Oh, that's why I think they were. No, he said, yeah, they said they were Arabs. They walk right past us, and then they turn around like on some like yo, and I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, they're talking to us. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yo, let's go see what they want. I'm like, why do you want to see what they want? So I just told you this ain't Scooby Doo. We're overseas, bro. Like, stop playing. We got to go home. And he's like, no, I'm gonna just see what they want. He was trying to give us some hash. So then he rolled it up with the tobacco. And my friend hit it. I mean, I don't do tobacco, so I didn't smoke it, but I
It's
smoked it
very
without it.
it's
With
very
CBD, I
common
mixed it
out
with
there.
CBD.
It's very, very common out there where they mix tobacco. I don't like it either, but
Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't do it. No.
Not just because you can smoke CBD in Berlin, so they was like, I was just like, I'm gonna just hold it tomorrow when I run into the CBD shop, get that, mix it the two together, then I'll be good.
By the way, it's nuts. Where in Morocco, if I'm not mistaken, even till now, weed is illegal, but
Oh, for
hashish,
real?
isn't.
Aren't they the same? May have the same
He,
or similar chemical like
yes.
the TH. I
He,
don't know if it's TH delta 9 or because I know what's it called? Um, what's that thing called? I just said it. CBD. There you go. I know
mhm.
CBD uses a similar. It's very similar. There's just one portion of it that's just not in it. I think it's just a THC element.
So primarily, what you're dealing with is it's the same plant. You're correct. Like for example, THC, CBD, CBG, all of these levels are going to be different. The thing about hashish in particular is the process that it goes through. So with hashish, it's almost like a marinated marijuana product where it goes through processes of filtration and marination and setting and placement until it's basically formed into like the block. You know what I
Yeah, yeah.
mean? So like in essence, like it's almost its own like thing. The same way like a joint and like a vape pen like this are two
Hmm.
completely different things. They're the same, like they're the same like they're made from the same thing, but two completely different things once applied.
Crazy, ain't it?
It is. And it's just a
So
plant.
that's
Just a
really wild.
fucking
How
plant, man.
that's wild how cannabis is illegal, but hashish isn't. Because I really think they're kind of the same. I think hashish gets you a little higher too.
Yeah, you definitely get more of an elevated high. It's not one of those where you can get in a car and drive.
Nah, what?
No.
That's what I'm saying. We were walking around Berlin. I was like, bro. I said, fam. I said, this is an experience now. I'm
It's an
seeing
out
it
of
in
body
4K.
experience almost, yeah.
Yeah,
No?
I saw Berlin in 4K. I was like, this is different.
You know something? It's like it all like boils down to because like I consider myself to be an artist. And I feel that in many parts of what makes me an artist is because of also the fact that I've had cannabis kind of infused in my life. Not necessarily smoking it, the experiences I've got out of it. You know, not being afraid, taking the leaps, being able to like stay in a flow state
I like that. And do you think it helps with the creative process as well?
with a lot of patience and applied carefully. Yes,
Yeah, I like that.
you have to be realistic with yourself. I mean, look, you can tell people here, smoke a joint every day and you're going to be great. Not everybody works that way, you know. Some people, some people, their cannabis is that jog at like 5 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah,
or
for sure.
an early swim at
So
like 7
I want
o'clock.
to ask you actually, do
Yeah.
you get the runner's high? Or do you run actually to even know what I'm referring to?
Um, yeah, I am one of those people that I will use cannabis, especially in stressful settings. Like, for example, like if I need to work and do multiple things and like be all over the place and running from places back and forth, but not in the sense of like doing workouts. I can, but I generally don't.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you, which high do you think is better? Because I actually, when I do run, sometimes afterwards I do get like a high off of that, and I'm like, wow, it feels just like I smoked, but I didn't.
You know, it's all in the mind because the thing about it is, in the end of the day, is cannabis. All it's doing is interacting with a substance in your body called cannabidiol. That's it. That's all cannabis does, is because cannabis has those compounds that can interact with that part of your body. The same way psilocybin interacts with those receptors. We're all about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast, period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we? With those the nerves, sorry, in the back of your neck, it's where once it's in there, you're going to go through that experience. But at the same time, you know, like for example, like we were saying, like with running, the same thing applies. You're giving your body this compound, and then your body is processing, and then you're getting that euphoric, bleh, euphoric experience from that.
Yeah, yep. It's just so cool how it's similar, you know?
I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to change the world by giving people mushrooms all at the same time. I think that understanding that nothing that's worth working towards is easy, and
Oh,
understanding
without a
that
doubt.
nothing is going to be perfect. But guess what? You know what? If it makes you happy, right? and you want to do something, who's stopping you? I mean, really.
That's a good question, in all fairness.
What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be stopping me if it when it comes to something I'd like to achieve. You know what I'm saying? But I think there are people who are going to let things, obstacles, and obstructions stop them from what they want to achieve. And I think it goes back to what you said. You know, some of it is just fictitious and made up in your mind. Like you can't really just do what it is you want to do. Maybe you have a little more liberty than you think. You know what I mean?
And not always do you need to use a substance as a way of getting through life. You know, one of the number one things that everybody consumes is alcohol. It's poison. But I love alcohol. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love having a good time with friends. I don't mind taking shots when I have a night off. Feels great.
I'm too old for that, bro. I cannot tell you it feels great. Nope. Over 25, boy, what that next morning? Hell nah. Excuse me. Nope.
Uh,
Boy, my knees they can't take it, fam. I'm just over with. I
I
wake
mean,
up and stretch now. I'm doing yoga. I will not be drinking. Nah, that's for the young people. I don't even drink wine, bro. That's dead,
are
man.
you serious?
What,
I
boy?
can't. I
Come
can't give
on
up
now. I'm
wine.
too old. I am old.
Tell that to my aching joints, and I'm only 25.
You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
no, like I literally, I had a knee injury last year. I twisted my knee 45 degrees inwards on roller skates, and I got a bone contusion, MCL, and ACL sprain. I went to physical therapy, and it never healed.
Oh, so how do you walk now?
It's like a level 1 to 2 pain, so I feel the bones rubbing against each other, but
Can you walk right normally though, or do you walk with like a limp or some sort of
I walk fine. I got used to it.
oh, that's crazy, man. Ugh. Ugh. I was
I
thinking
know.
about rollerblading too. I was like, I haven't done that in a while.
It's like the one thing that I love the most in my life. I'm dead serious. Like I
Oh,
love
really? You
roller
used to
skating and
rollerblade?
disco. I like roller skate. Yeah, like roller skating and disco was like my thing. Like whenever I had a chance, to go out and like I can't wear them.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do it ever again now because of that injury? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
the
saying?
leg. Yeah, like I've tried to put on. Yeah,
Damn.
it's just like it's too. No,
So are there other things you can't do because of it, or it's just that?
it's just that. I mean, I work in the food industry, so I'm on my legs and my feet
Right,
all
right.
day, every day. So fun, yay! And you know what? It's just about building up resiliency. It's weird, like understanding that there's. You know what the number one lie in this country has been for years? There is no such thing as pain free. It is a lie. No such thing. Because
As what? Pain free or pain
pain
free?
pain free, like
Pain free. Yeah, yeah.
PAIN, yeah, pain free. Because we're human beings. We're made out of muscles and tissues and bones, right? So in life, you're bound to run into things. And it's like, can you get that pain down to a tolerable level where you can go back to your daily life?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the problem with that? I understand it's an annoyance, but you're not like you were 5 months ago, right? You could walk, go to the grocery store, like you could hang out with your partner, like you can work a full job without any problems. You know what I mean? So
Man. Yeah, I think it's just an illusion that you're not going to go through any kind of struggle. You know what I mean? Because I guess we're faced with this, what's it called, microwave society, right? You only see everyone's highlights. You never really see the lows. So all you constantly think is, all right, yeah, there is no pain. They just look at them. It was yesterday that they had nothing. Now they're here.
now realizing that was like 12 to 13 years.
Yeah, yeah, behind the scenes.
I mean, like getting a little personal, like how has it been for you, like in regards to your music career?
How do you mean?
Like in that aspect. I mean, if you can look at the past to where you are now.
I mean, I only started last year, to be honest with you, so it's not even like I have that much time
Even
that I could even
I
reflect on.
I understand that, but even if that's the case, a year is a long time
Oh,
because
without a doubt.
I mean, thinking about myself a year ago in March of last year, I'm currently in a relationship with somebody, okay? And I am in a position myself currently where not only do I feel stronger than ever that I can be control of my situations, I didn't feel that way last year. Last year I was in a completely different world that I don't even relate to anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's evolution.
In essence,
You know what I mean?
yes.
You're growing.
Mhm.
But I didn't want to shy away from your question. What were you asking with regards to the
No,
music?
I'm
I just
saying
want to
like
make sure I understood it.
what I'm what I was trying to get at was like even if it's been a year, what type of
Yeah,
growth have you seen for yourself that's been
I
beneficial?
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've kind of like been leaning into the business side of it a lot more. So
Okay.
I've kind of been, after I've said, okay, I got a product, right? I
Mhm.
got a few songs. Let's get the best sound that we can out of a few, package them together, and let's now present it to the audience. And now I think, okay, now that I've done that before, I want to revisit how I did it previously, see what worked, learn from that, and I'm grateful to kind of just see areas that I could have improved now on these newer songs based upon my previous mistakes. So I think just having that, just having that ability to reflect on what you've done, I think is where I've seen the most growth from last year.
It's good to have a clear perspective, and being able to have like almost like a business mindset, where you can kind of start to create like a structure and foundation. And there is that level of artistry within music that's not always thought about, because it's like, it's a little boring, like you don't have to. But I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite. I like to think a little bit more deeper, and being able to kind of figure things out a little bit more deeply, specifically with music.
I like that. So when you're making a song, do you have a concept going in, or do you just make it up on the fly?
Generally, there's a concept. Um, like I've written quite a few songs. There was one that I wrote recently, which was a song that was titled "Human Being." And the whole idea of the song was this illusion that we're made of gods that live in the sky, and we think that we're different, but we're actually the same.
Yeah,
And in essence, that's what we are. So that was the concept, and then
that's
came the song. Yeah.
I like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was asking because I know I haven't written a single song. That's like the most difficult thing for me to do because I don't know. I feel like if I'm writing it, I'm gonna forget the cadence, forget what it should sound like. I gotta just record.
So a trick that I do sometimes is I have an acoustic guitar. So I generally like I no shame. I use GarageBand a lot of times for my mixes. I'll usually use like Epidemic Sound. I'll get tracks over there, and I'll usually input them in and then tweak them to my liking. And I'll just use that guitar and just play either three or four chords, and then kind of figure out like the tune that I'm trying to go for. And do you know where I got that inspiration from?
I can't. Where?
Salt and pepper.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Because if you remember with the duo when they go back and forth from each other and how like so beautifully timed it was, it's like you know. I can't think of anything off of my top of the head, but I just using that as an example. But like, it's not necessarily like the words you're saying. It's like it's like almost as if the rhythm is the words. Does that make sense?
The rhythm is the word. I mean, I feel like that's how a lot of music today is, like the rhythm. Because I even when I play stuff for people, they'll say they love the beat first. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the words kind of just accompany the beat in today's music a lot more
Right.
than the lead vocalist being that thing to outshine the beat. I think the producers are getting a lot more of the praise.
Well, it's also like kind of a more of a different shift. If you look at it, this just comes to mind. Like if you think of like soul and R&B, specifically from the late '70s, very clear vocals. You can hear word for word exactly what the person is saying,
Yeah.
and you get into this trance. So I totally agree with you. There is that other complete opposite side where like the words themselves, like the lyrics, is what you're listening to the most.
Hmm. But then again, today everything is so quick. Like there's a new song out every 10 seconds. It feels like. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
So instead of like listening to the lyrics, I feel like people just fall into, all right, is it the melody cool? You know what I mean? Like I don't even think people pay. Do you think people still pay attention to words like that? I mean, yeah, they be shouting them at concerts, I'm sure, but
Well, it's kind of one of those things where like I'm
because
one of
like
those.
before you even answer, I was gonna
Yeah,
say on TikTok, they'll play like maybe like 6 seconds of a song, so you'll never really hear the full song, but you'll just know those 6 seconds, and that's what people will all the time gravitate towards. Like I don't even think people are gonna go back and listen to the whole. So they're just gonna stick with those 6 seconds and run with that.
short attention spans. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I
And
mean?
mm-hmm.
And it's gonna just be the melody after a while. Like it's not even gonna be the words. And then people are gonna remix the words, make their own words to it. You know what I mean? Like I think people just want to hear something that sounds cool, and then let it have its moment, and then they move on.
You know, though, what I'm most thankful for, and I have been able to have these people on my podcast, there are those artists out there that are not only different, but they're different because they want to be. And that's important
Yeah.
to them, and that's what has made them successful. And you're right. Like, I mean, there's thousands of songs every minute. I don't, I'm making that up on this fly, but probably. But the truth is, the songs that speak to people the most are the ones that come from those very few. And I say very few because if you treat being an artist as a career, treat it as a career. If you want to treat being as an artist as like being the best version of your artistry that you can be, that's another level. Those two things are separate. They can collaborate together. They're two separate things.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, I do think that anybody can make a song though nowadays. Like you could say anything, and as long as you have a good engineer, I think it's over with.
But how authentic is that, man? Like in the end of the
Hey, you could be
day,
here today, gone tomorrow. That's how they move. Again, it's microwave. It's quick. They already want someone tomorrow anyway. The demand is there.
you got to be the person that's not there tomorrow. You got to be the person there that's late in the evening when nobody's looking.
Yeah, right. That person gets overlooked.
Sometimes. I mean,
Closed
it's
mouths don't get fed, man.
random barn house, just a bunch of metalheads just chugging away. I've seen those before.
Jeez.
Yeah, it happens. I don't know
And they
about
making strides in the music industry.
where here in South Florida.
Yeah, the metal.
There's a lot of metalheads out here. I was very surprised. They do. They have venues out here. I haven't been to one. I have to go. I've heard that some of them are quite insane in a good way. Um, it's dude. It is another like if you want to talk about metalheads, man. Oh my god, it is another level of human beings. They are just so fucking cool. They really are. They're just so fucking cool.
I guess I'll have to check it out. I've never even. That's the first time I've ever heard that term being referenced.
Metalheads?
Yeah,
Yeah,
never heard of that before.
surprisingly, a lot of people are still into metal. I mean, it's just it's very much a counterculture, you know, and it's just like a bunch of people that are just to have fun. Like literally
Right.
everybody's there is just to have fun. Like you come in there and everybody wants to just give you a hug.
That
And
sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not gonna hold you, but I feel like that stuff like that is how we got COVID, man. They really everybody just they pull up and want to hug you.
oh man, I feel you on that. But
Man, sound like a. They sound like they overly friendly.
nah, they are very overly friendly. uh,
You heard metal music that don't even make sense. What would they not? They not mad?
it's it's kind of interesting because I didn't experience this until I went to a metal concert. When you hear it live, it's like you know how sometimes you wish you could take a bat and just smash everything in a room.
I wish I could. Nah, I never had that
I wish
feeling.
I could too, but that's kind of like what metal does. It just like takes all of that shit out, you know, and by the time you're done, it's like a good work. I'm serious, like it's a good workout, and you're like, damn, I feel good.
You must be ferocious doing it though. Like imagine destroying everything.
Depends what
I feel the
depends what
liberty.
kind of
I
you
feel the
listen to.
liberty in that statement. I'm not gonna hold you. I felt the liberty in that statement.
I don't know. I feel like music just has a way of like. This is gonna sound like fucking voodoo bullshit, you know, but like it has a way of touching you, you know, and I genuinely believe that creativity, specifically, even like the artists that are small, they're always gonna stand out in a way than the ones that are just pumping, you know, and all that shit. Like, I don't
Nah,
know.
for sure. For sure. I mean, well, hard work, the ones who work harder, because you said, I think you were saying, like, well, is it authentic? Like, it's quick? Of course it's not, you know? So those who are authentic are probably going to land a longer, they're probably going to stand the test of time.
Hmm. And like the thing is, like, kind of going back to the fact where it all stems to your individuality because what you're putting out is yourself. You know, what you're representing is you. You know, and why don't you want to be the best version you can be? You will be, and you are.
You see, you got to work towards it.
Got to start somewhere. You know, it's like beginnings are never easy.
Yeah, you can't be born on the first day.
No, unless you know somebody that's got a lot of money, then that's a
I
different
mean,
story.
hey, they get you in the door.
They do, and you owe them a promise. And now they're gonna be knocking on your door one of these days. You might not like what they're gonna be asking you to do.
As long as it's not, yeah, as long as it's not, some extraordinary. Yeah, nah. I feel like I'm
I
gonna
had a
be like, nah, I'm good.
I had a friend that happened to. I'm dead serious.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what happened?
She borrowed money. They came knocking at the door. She had to pay. There was no mafia or anything involved. She basically like
I was gonna,
borrowed. She borrowed money from a local group. She was a part of like this organization, and they literally went to her door to collect money.
Well, shoot, there wasn't gonna be ghosted by her text. They're about to be like, "Hey, run me my money."
Oh my god. Well,
And she
I
was probably like, "Up,
yeah.
ignore." New phone, who this?
Listen, man, it's very hard to like ignore these days. I mean, like they can hear you, they see you, they like there's no privacy. There's
Yeah,
literally no
nah, that's because we
privacy.
gave up for security.
I mean, hey,
But I
Google's
mean,
great.
to be
I'm not gonna
fair, I
lie.
really think the security is trash. Because have you ever seen on the news they got the 12 megapixel camera that was the worst camera? I don't know if 12 megapixels is good. So I'll say 2 megapixel camera taking photos of all the people doing crime. But in all the technology we should be having like whatever the best quality is. Yeah, so we didn't really give it up for privacy. I don't know what we get. We didn't give it up for technology. I'll say that.
We're in a very, I've said this before, we're in a very interesting time because we're literally the exact opposite of what happened 100 years ago. Because in 1924 was a year that a lot of people were very successful. A lot. Like America was doing very well. Like we were one of the most prominent countries in the world. Right now, we're the complete opposite. We're like I don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, like you can't speak your mind. You can't, and without somebody lashing out to you, you know, and calling you a racist or anti-Semite, or you know, I'm like, bro, let me be me, okay? And like, if I'm doing something wrong, tell me. Let's have an intellectual conversation about this. Let's not be like a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds in kindergarten throwing dirt at each other.
You got to grow up at some point, huh?
Easier said than done, believe it or not.
Hey, man. You know what's so funny? I thought by this time we'd have flying cars. Cause that's what hey man, they've been pushing that since I was a kid. Like
Oh, I know. But there would be just congestion in the sky, you know that.
now they got the Cybertruck though. Have you seen it? The
Mm-hmm.
new car truck thing,
It literally looks like a stainless steel, like
a
um
miniature Batmobile
or
without the
something. I
details.
don't know. Dude, that thing has so many like sharp angles. I saw a car accident with one of those. It like
Really?
demolished the car.
I believe it. Yeah, I was gonna say, what material is it made out of? It looks like it's for war.
You know, just completely off tangents. This is probably one of the funniest things, and I know this because I've worked in the car industry. The US car industry is so baffling because the whole safety and regulations, you know, with crumple zones and whatever, doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because when you have super duty vehicles, such as like an a Ford F like 650 or something like that,
Yeah,
or one of the large Jeep wagon, you know, like one of the large Jeep Renegades, what do you want to call it? They will destroy a Corolla. They can fucking kill the driver if it just hits the door. They don't talk
dude,
about it.
that's wild.
They don't talk about it. They don't fucking talk about it because
If it
like,
just hits the door,
yeah, because the way that all of it's based is per vehicle and per company. So all companies have to follow certain regulations that are per government, but they've all figured out ways of getting over certain things, like based on wording and how things
right,
are
right, right.
structured. So some vehicles on the road can literally like cause seriously horrible, horrendous accidents, and they're perfectly legal. Insane.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Insane. And you think like, what if, for example, like if a person wanted to drive a vehicle like that, they would have to like get certain like training or whatever. They don't want to do that because that costs money.
For sure. Ugh,
I know,
man.
man.
Hey, I'm happy I don't drive, so I ain't even tripping. I'm just saying we should have had the cars in the sky.
I feel you. One day, you know, we gotta pray that it'll happen someday or another.
I mean, but yeah, I feel like that's the only way you gotta manifest.
Hmm.
Just ask
My,
for it.
you know, one of the things that I lived. Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say if you've been enjoying the podcast, I'm enjoying this episode. If you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing, someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode. In Israel for a few years, one of the things that I did miss over there was the transportation. Like, I'm gonna be one of those people that does this. It is kind of one of those things where I miss where you could just hop on a tram or a bus, you know, and just like get into an area and you can just like walk around for like an hour. It's like,
It's one. Israel's a place like that where you can just
yeah,
walk
you could just
around.
walk around for an hour. I used to
What?
just walk around for an hour, and it's nice because like you can get like nice clarity, you know. Um,
You know, walking is beautiful. So when you take your walks, to is it in nature in the city?
I generally like nature, but I don't mind like walking around and just like going in circles, specifically when there's like the shops and things. It's not therapeutic. It's just a way
Yeah,
of like my mind getting clarity. I'm weird. Like my mind works better when I'm moving than when I'm still. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Cuz to me it doesn't.
No, I feel. I mean, we all have different ways of thinking and processing thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So like, I can understand that. You know, in order for you to generate ideas, it's like if you're recording, some people record sitting down versus sitting up. Some people maybe be walking around in a circle in their room, and that's how they make a song.
Mhm. Got to find your motion.
Nah, of course, whatever works for you.
It's um it's almost it's almost interesting because like there is this almost culture around artists, you know, the fact that like artists are different, you know, and artists are this and that. I don't know. I think most people are creative. I just feel that a lot of people block it out as a
You think
mechanism.
so?
Yes, I genuinely believe that.
Block it out. Okay, cool. Wow.
What's your thoughts on that? I'm curious.
I mean, I don't know. I really think it's just there's a level of confidence to just even making a song. You know what I mean? And or however you want to be creative, whether you paint, whether you make music, whether you have to have some level of will it get lost out there, or if I put it out there, will somebody see it? Will it be appreciated? Because I think that's ultimately what people want. They want to put something out that's going to get appreciated in the way that they appreciate it themselves. You know what I mean? So it's easy to get
Hmm.
lost in that sense of I just want validation versus let me be proud of my product. And I just probably think too many people get lost in that desire for validation versus let me just put the faith, the passion into creating the product so I can be proud of presenting the product.
Yeah, because in a day, it's like being the most authentic version of yourself. You know, I like we were talking about like even a year ago. I feel the most authentic version of myself now than I have ever been in my life before. And it's not just because of self validation, it's because understanding that you have limitations, but those limitations don't make you less of a person. All it means is that you have to work with those things the best way. It's
That's
that
all it
simple.
is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's just the way it is. That's how they say it, you know what I mean?
How do you feel on that?
I think it's again, it's just what I was saying. Like so many people just fall into wanting that validation that they may fail to see the beauty in what they created because they're like, oh, maybe it's not appreciated by tens of thousands of people. They might overlook five and just learn. You gotta. It's a slow process,
It is.
So it's one of those where you're gonna put your seed in the ground. You can't just look at it and expect it to grow just because you're looking at it. It's gonna grow. Just take your time.
Hmm. And to emphasize on that point, I had an artist on my podcast. His name is Gregory Dillon. He's a pop artist. He he hit like I think 1 million on one of his songs, and I started following his career about like 4 years ago. So like when he was kind of small, and I watched this guy's career in 4 years to the point like I had him on
Wow,
this podcast, and dude, it was the most incredible experience. And it's not even about me. It's not even my career. It's not like I was just enjoying the moment. Like I was able to see somebody that was the most genuine version of himself, and other people were able to see that too. And he was able to become successful.
that's awesome.
It's amazing.
4 years, that's awesome. I mean, you got to put in your 10,000 hours somehow. You know what I mean?
Mhm. It's that
You
like
definitely got to.
it's like that planting of the seed. It's where once the plant comes out from the roots and starts growing, it starts blossoming, and the flowers start to form. You start to see the progress. Because you don't at the beginning because the roots are all growing. You don't see that bud starting to sprout out of the ground. It takes time until that starts to develop.
It's like we were talking about the beginnings. You know what I mean?
You mean weed?
No, I was saying we were talking about the beginnings. Like you got to start from somewhere.
Weed's also it's the same case, but yeah. Be true. You
Nah,
gotta
for
you got to
sure.
start from somewhere. It's such
Yep.
it's a really strange mindset because when you get to like figuring out what you want to do, because let's be real, right? As we get older or as our interests in things change, you can't I can't realistically say that I'm going to be the exact same person I am now in 10 years. I don't.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Right, like I can't guarantee that. What I can say is that I want to work towards something so that I can be that person in 10 years, right? So it's a hypothetical that you're working towards to make a reality.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What's your what you thinking about?
Like right now,
Yes.
I was just listening to what you were saying about working towards your reality.
What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's just what I'm doing right now. I mean, you definitely got to find a way to get your capital to start, right? No matter how you do it. And then from there, you just believe in yourself 100%.
Have you have you ever came to the thought of like seeing where you want your future to be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's important to have that kind of stuff maybe not mapped out 100% because you never know how things will go and you don't want to block a blessing with whatever it is that you think when you know something greater might be out there for you. So I definitely want to be optimistic about what's possible. And
Okay.
that's how I kind of play it. This way I don't stand in front of anything that might have been, for me with, oh, well, this is what I want instead. Let me just walk the path that's for me and then, reap whatever comes from the hard work that I put in as I walk down that path.
I gotcha.
you know?
And what are what are some of those things that you're working towards that are like your top priorities, would you say?
Yeah, so you remember how in the beginning I was like, "Yo, I wanna have a weed strain since if I smoke, I definitely gotta find a way to get paid from it." That's gonna be one of them, without a doubt.
Mhm. And I was going to ask you, do you have connections with any farmers or any growers?
No, that's why I was so intrigued about that smoke shop that you had got your bud from. I was like, "Oh, well, do they have more shops? I'll definitely go in and talk to them and just ask." And be like, "Hey, guys, so I'm an artist, you want to package, like, an experience? We'll put the bud with the EP, and then, people can listen to it while they smoke, and they'll be" you know what I mean? Just give them, like, a better presentation.
I gotcha.
Especially as you were saying earlier, like, yeah, the bud you were smoking gets me sky high. Well, imagine being sky high listening to something that you now that was your introduction to that high. You know what I mean? Like, that's now an experience for you.
Hmm. For sure. I was gonna I was gonna tell you I do know somebody that is in the cannabis industry. I can give you his information. He's located in Utah, but if you want,
Oh,
you can
wow,
reach
okay,
out to
cool.
him, and he has a lot of connections. So he's like the right person if you need any guidance with this.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely see if, he wants to bring the vision to light.
Hmm.
Because don't you think that'll be a great experience? You can if there's a strain attached to the artist, right? If you don't even know the artist, but you do like weed, this is now a way for you to connect to the music through the person without even really knowing them. And that's how I think you build a brand.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely an infrastructure where you're creating your foundation, your layout, your build, and getting all of those pieces together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, without a doubt.
So my apologies. Quick shout out. His name is David Putvin,
Okay.
and oh my god, this dude is like the fucking guru with weed. Like pretty much a lot of the shit that I know about weed is thanks to this wonderful man. Like it's amazing. He actually wrote a book about it. Don't worry, I'll give you all of his
I was about
information
to say, man,
afterwards.
you're gonna have to give me his email after this. Also, man,
No worries, my dude. I got you.
and I don't mean to have to run or anything, but it is a little after 10. I do have to wake up early for work tomorrow, but I
No,
was
no
excited
worries, my
to
man.
I
Well,
was
listen,
excited to pass through, man, just to chat it up with you, meet you, and all that.
for sure. Well, I was gonna ask you if you do you have any links or anywhere where these people can find you?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Bari Mcknight, and you can catch me on all the streaming platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. I learned I was on because I distribute through DistroKid, YouTube,
Nice,
everywhere.
awesome. What's your social handle?
Yep. So Bari Mcknight. So Bari McKnight, Mcknight.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your thoughts, being a part of the experience. And if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Lost in the Groove Pod. With that, catch you on the next one. All right. Peace out. We're all about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast, period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we? Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say if you've been enjoying the podcast, enjoying this episode, if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing, someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode.